what we really think of Trench Crusade.
I've always been a bit skeptical of like 3D printing models and all this kind of stuff.
I have bought 3D prints in the past, and I've never painted any of them. They've always ended up in a drawer. I've never liked how they look.
If the models aren't good, we aren't going to want to paint them. Therefore, we're not going to want to play with them.
Had a lot of fun just weathering it and just doing lots of like rust and little chips and marks. It literally didn't take me. I think this guy took me like an hour or two. I think you could get a warband made and painted probably in a weekend.
Hello everyone and welcome to Paint Perspective, episode 105, sponsored by Everything Airbrush. For your airbrush supplies, needs, all that good stuff, check the link in the description of this episode. This week we're going to be talking about what we really think of Trench Crusade. James has been our man on the ground once again.
Yes, I have. I've been in the trenches, so to speak, but not covered in mud. So it's been quite good actually. I've been finding out a lot about it, having a bit of a play with some miniatures. I can't wait to go into a bit more detail.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on in the show.
Yeah.
How's the weekend been?
Amazing.
I think we've both been doing a good bit.
We've had
of
an amazing weekend. It's been fantastic. Literally
back on the brushes. As
back
we
on
say.
the brushes. Well, not brushes. I've been prepping to get back on the brushes. I obviously come off the back of loads of events, loads of things. Obviously,
Rather a couple of busy
hell
weekends.
month of like 5-6 weeks. So like 4, 5, 6 weeks of just constant events and things that we're doing as a business. So this was literally like the first weekend without like an event to go to, which is great. I got home after work on Friday and I was like, I have not had a purge in the hobby room for quite some time. And I had a little George on my shoulder going, you need to have a clean desk. So I was like, yeah, okay.
Clean.
So I spent most of Saturday. So Friday was doing a bit of organising. I made one model because I just wanted to sit down and get a model made for something, which I'll talk about in a bit. And then I spent a whole Saturday just literally organising the airbrush desk, my painting desk, sorting all my cupboards, putting things in boxes, labelling stuff. The zen-like state that the room is now in is phenomenal. Getting the time to use it might be the issue. But
welcome to my world, James.
I know.
So you could have that every day if you just kept your room tidy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's good. It's really good, and I'm really going to try hard to maintain it. I think I did purchase some new candles for the room as well, so I get a bit of a zen-like state in it. And then once the candles are burnt out,
he doesn't want the smell.
Once the
we know what
candles
he
are burnt
wants.
out, we got fishbowl city. So we got loads of fish bowls ready to go. But
For anyone listening, who just have a clue what the hell that meant, James buys the massive IKEA candles that you'd put on like a coffee table to fill a whole room. The big like
special occasion type thing.
Yeah, the ones the size of like a dinner plate.
Let that burn
and then
down.
He'll burn that just so he can keep
for
the
a
container.
solid week. That's burning in his room.
It's great, honestly. I don't need to reload.
And what are you putting in there after it's
Just what do you mean? Just water.
It's his water cup. It's his water cup for his paintbrushes.
water bowl?
Bowl, yeah, water bowl, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So they're good. No, but anyway, it's been really, really, really good. So I am going full on to some projects for comp. So I've got some things that I've really wanted to do. One of them was something I picked up from Warboot. So I've always wanted to paint one of these, which is it's the Forge World Aeronautica Thunderhawk. So it's the resin one. And do you know what? It went together amazing. I picked up at Warboot, got a really good deal on it. And
was it like on the sprue still?
It was literally in bag, all ready to go. Like
Nice.
No missing parts. Like it was perfect. Absolutely amazing.
Was that the Iron Skull war boot?
No, it wasn't. It was the one before. It was the
Sneaky.
February
Yeah.
Warboot. So
You've had it a while.
yeah, I've had it a while, and I absolutely love the model. I think other than Dreadnought, the Thunderhawk gunship is probably one of the most iconic marine units. I think there's still jokes now about a plastic one being made in the future or something, whatever. But yeah, I think the Thunderhawk gunship is one of like my favorite OG models.
Did you get a lot of them like back in the day when it was the metal one, or was it as rare then as it is now?
What do you mean when you say metal one? They done a limited edition wooden box, like crazy Thunderhawk that like you needed a degree in engineering to build.
And they didn't go together very well.
Hence the degree. They made them in Epic, so Epic 40,000, little metal ones. Right. They were always really cool. But this resin, when Aeronautica came out, Forge World produced an Aeronautica OG Thunderhawk. So the Thunderhawk's gone through a couple of variants. There's I think like the Mark II or Mark III is the one that you can buy from from Ford World, or you can buy now the resin kit, the big one, like the 40k scale one. But the aeronautical one that I've bought from Warboot is the old shape one. And yeah, like I just always wanted to paint one of those. And of course, it's going to be bright red.
Blood Angel red.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Stop sign red, I call it.
Yeah, but do you know one of my favorite things is that on the kit you've got we'll put a little video up of me turning it around on the plinth and stuff. But like on the kit, you can tell when it was designed. I'm guessing they borrowed maybe a little bit of a design ethic from the X-wing, because it's got these little attack wings, these little S-foil things that just pop up, which is quite cool. And I always remember like in some of the earlier publications of like White Dwarf, when they done like when all the shops worked together to produce like the massive Ultramarines army. I don't know if you remember that. They done like every shop, and they had one of the games days. They had the whole entire Ultramarine chapter. They had 2 of the 40k metal
ones,
engineering degree Thunderhawks, and one of them had like the little winglets down, and the other one, I remember, it's like screaming in over the top of the chapter, and like the S-foil things, like the little wings are up. So like, yeah, I really wanted to borrow that and go, cool, like I'm going to do that as a little small scale. So I've done that, and then I've got another diorama on the go, which is something that's been boiling away in my mind for quite some time. Is
this the third diorama you're
No, it's not.
It's
second one. So the priest one is going to be ongoing. It's a big project. I'm going to just chip away at it. Okay. I've got loads of those bits done, but this one is a much smaller one, and it's much more of a storytelling diorama. Do
you want to talk about that a bit more in the post show?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. But yeah, I've got. So anyway, my weekend has been sorting the room out, buying some candles. Building a Thunderhawk.
I love that that's an essential part. It's like step 1, tidy room.
Hack. Of course it is. Yeah.
Step 1, tidy room. Step 2,
You've got to have a zen-like state.
Yeah. Get your apple-scented candles or whatever it is.
Definitely not apple.
What are they?
Are you bothered about the scent in the slightest, or do you just pick whatever?
Like
what you going for?
Clean cotton is one of them. Yeah, I've got clean cotton as one of them. Yeah,
cotton.
And then it's just whatever the fruit like one that IKEA do. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah.
So you've got cotton or fruit like.
Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
Look, okay.
Cotton.
I like those 2 scents.
Really into his candles, as you can tell.
Yeah. Candle connoisseur.
Okay. Why don't you just buy? Then, if you're going to IKEA, don't they just have glass bowls that you can buy empty without the candle?
It's multi-use. 2 for 1. You get a candle and a bowl.
So he is somewhat into the candle, because he could just circumvent this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you must want the candle.
I do want the candle, yeah. I like candles burning. I think it's good. I'd have one here, but it's a bit dangerous, isn't it? So yeah, light is better. But yeah, so that's been my weekend. I've got a lot done. What about you?
Okay.
I have done...
Candles?
No candles. No candles this weekend. I've done a fair bit of hobbying myself.
Can we...
Hang on a minute. Wait, as well.
Stop. Wait a minute. Look, we're all casually just talking here, but... keen-eyed viewers, obviously the listeners won't notice, but George, what else have you been doing this week? What's happened to your golden locks?
Oh, we're drawing attention to that, are we?
Well, at some point, someone's gonna say, "Hang on a minute, you haven't mentioned George's hair."
It's good with the buzz cut. It's good.
I'll just shape it
It's actually grown in the past week. Like, it has shot up.
I was actually, this isn't as dramatic as you might think. I've been planning this for months, but I knew that we had UK Games Expo and Iron Skull coming up, and I was like, well, that's a bit of a fashion risk. For an event,
as soon as
it's just a haircut.
Last week, I know, but all I could think of, Alien 3 in the prison ship. That's all I ever think about when I see people with like a really short crew cut.
James was bewildered. He was like,
I double took. He came in, because George came in, went past the office and went straight into the kitchen or the main office. I saw the back of him. I was like, who the hell's that? I was like, who's that?
Like, we hired someone
who just walked in. I triple took. I was like, no, but I think it suits you. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Cool for summer. Like, no locks.
Mixing it up.
Carry on.
Yeah, so anyway.
I'm glad I addressed. I just wanted to address.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for drawing attention to that.
That's all right.
I've been doing a fair bit of hobbying. I've, you might have seen on Instagram, I posted one of the intercessors that I've finished. There's a couple more to be yet to be shown.
Of course.
That will be coming alongside that. And then also, I've got 2 projects on the go at the minute. I've gone back to my Blood Angels captain, and I'm reworking some small parts of it, because I'd kind of forgotten. I kind of rushed that paint job when the Blood Angels army set came out, whenever that was, however many months ago.
Is this the new captain that came out a little while ago?
No, so this is the normal captain, which I converted somewhat using a mixture of the new Blood Angels upgrade sprue and some old parts and stuff I had. But the paint job it's nice and it's up to standard, but the paint job was a little bit rushed to get it finished.
George's standard.
I think just it was more less the paint job and more some of the choices that I made. So I've gone back and
Spoke about the plasma, didn't we, a little bit? I think.
Yeah, so I'm repainting the plasma on it to be green. I'm repainting the back cloak. I did do it as purple, which I thought was like fun and different, but I don't like it. So I've gone back to painting that black. And then most notably on the inside, this dovetails into the other project that I'm working on. I've decided that with cloth and fabric and things, I want them to be nice and flat and to sort of, as a way of practicing freehand. And I kind of like the look as well. I've been like
key lines and
trying to do key lines and things like that. So on his tabard, he's got like a freehanded like red like key line that goes around the outside, which I thought looked nice. But on his cloak, it was sculpted on, and I'd painted it the same. And I'm like, I don't like the disconnect of that one's sculpted and that one's freehand. Right. So I've gone back, I've broken the cloak off, scraped off all of the sculpted key line on it. So I'm going to have to repaint the whole thing, unfortunately, because it's got a fair bit of sanding. But while it's off, I'm going to repaint the back of it black and then redo the key line as freehand. Yeah. And then while I'm there, redo the plasma. Might just do a few little touch-ups and tweaks. But
nice.
Good.
Yeah. So anyway, interwoven with that is my ancient, which I've been speaking about for a long while now, where I scraped all of the iconography off of that. Yeah. I've started getting
That's
into
a project in itself, just scraping all the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's taken 4 or 5 evenings worth of work.
Grief. Yeah. And to get that nice and smooth. That's a lot of work.
I've made a good start on that. I'll talk about that in the post show as well, because we're getting on a bit. What if I told you you can easily take your miniature bases to the next level? Well, now you can with the new basing products from Siege Scenics. Siege Scenics is dedicated to helping you create immersive and realistic environments for your miniatures that feel alive and dynamic, whether you're setting the stage for an epic tabletop battle or telling a rich, unfolding story with your competition display. From the warm hues of autumn to the crisp frost of winter, Siege Scenics has you covered with expertly crafted products that capture the ever-changing beauty of nature and bring it straight to your miniatures. To see the full collection and place your order now, head to siegescenics.co.uk or check the link in this episode's description. The main topic of this episode is, of course, Trench Crusade, what we really think of Trench Crusade. So, the guys over at Only Games have kindly sponsored this episode, so thank you to those guys. They've sent us some miniatures, and they've been very nice sponsors. They basically just said, talk about it, do whatever you want, which is nice, because we can say what we really think. James has been painting some of the models.
Man on the ground.
Man in the trench.
Man on the trenches.
On the trenches?
In the trenches.
In the trenches, yeah.
He's painted some of the miniatures, and they've sent us a whole bunch of them, which we're going to look at as well. So I believe the idea with Trench Crusade is it's miniature agnostic, but there is also like official models alongside it, and they're fulfilling those as there was a Kickstarter, and then now I believe they're like on pre-order now. So these are some of those models, and we've been having a little dive into the lore and the rules and stuff as well. So bit of a fan favorite. This game in the last few months. I can't seem to get away from it. So
it certainly seems to be all over the place.
Yeah, lots of people have really jumped on it. I mean, it's quite a savage game. Like it's pretty much R-rated in the sense of like the gore and all that kind of stuff. And obviously it deals with like demons and stuff like that, and like hell opening, which is like a pretty grim kind of like environment anyway. Wouldn't go there on holiday. Would not recommend. TripAdvisor does not get a good review on that. But yeah, like so when I had a look at the models, when obviously Only Games got in touch, all the demon models are amazing, don't get me wrong. I think they probably would have kept me up at night, how kind of like how crazy they are. So
maybe we'll put some of the pictures on screen, because they sent us like a whole bunch of artwork and stuff accompanying this, which sets the tone better than we could probably describe it.
Yeah. I mean, so I thought I would have a go at probably one of the factions that are most relatable, which is like maybe like New Antioch. They've got a mix of like human characters. They've got some really cool heavy infantry, like mechanized infantry, which are awesome. And I actually started to paint or painted one of those. And I thought it was a really good kind of like core sort of like faction from the game that a lot of people probably will get into because it's quite relatable. So that's kind of like the models that we asked to sort of like have a go at looking at and also painting. But yeah, you've got like all manner of different factions in there from like different areas of the world. The backstory is really cool as well. So like it's got quite an in-depth background as well. Again, you've mentioned the artwork. The artwork's fantastic. There's loads of really. If you like GRIMDARK, then this game.
It's about as GRIMDARK as GRIMDARK.
It's very, very GRIMDARK. Yeah. Like and like I said, some of the factions are like crazy, like savage in the way they look, and like like demons and stuff like that, which is amazing.
It's quite a contained setting as well, being that it's like an alternate history version kind of set in like World War One with
I
like
was
the
gonna
trench warfare
say,
stuff.
it looks very World War One.
It's
Yeah.
set 1914, so
Yeah.
it's
Right.
set in 1914. I won't go into. I've read obviously the background, so I won't go too crazy into it. But it's set in 1914. Essentially, God falls to Earth, creates the hellmouth that opens basically, and then demons spew forth,
Yeah.
and it goes from World War One into we've got to now fight all these evil things. So yeah,
But it's quite a
essentially-
cool contained setting as well, though, because it kind of binds all of the factions together through some mean, like in
Yeah.
the environment that they're in. It's like other tabletop games like 40k, for example. It's this vast universe and kind of anything can be anywhere. But I quite like that because it's a skirmish game, you can isolate it to this one sort of environment, which I think is nice when it leans into like the basing and stuff like that and setting a bit of a scene. Because like obviously we say trench warfare, that gives you like a certain impression in your head of like thick, heavy mud, like wooden boards,
like
and
a no
things
man's land and things like that.
Barbed wire, all that sort of stuff. So it's nice having like a kind of unifying thing to bring everything together.
Well, it's really good because I mentioned in previous episodes I've been working on those trench bases.
Oh, this is what it was
Ages
for.
and ages ago.
Yeah,
It wasn't for this. I just made. Do you remember? I just made some trench bases. I literally jumped in one of the drawers that I found all the bases on while I was tidying on Friday, and then obviously one of these heavy mechanized infantry. I put the model straight on that. So it's quite convenient to be honest. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with doing that. Like making trench bases was really fun. And then like just learning a bit more about the faction and like and just really having a go with the models. I've got to say, like first things first, like I've always been a bit skeptical of like 3D printing models and all this kind of stuff, and like these are fantastic, and I sincerely mean that. I know obviously it's a sponsored episode, but with all sincerity, I was actually very, very impressed.
James is probably the most skeptical of 3D prints of anyone that I know.
Well, I mean, I have bought 3D prints in the past. I bought quite a fair few, about 10 different models, and I've never painted any of them. They've always ended up in a drawer. I've never liked how they look at the end. But
maybe it's because I'm the only one who's got like actual experience of us lot doing 3D printing.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of know the quality that stuff can be and is capable of being. That being said, as you said, Paul, there is often a scenario where when stuff is 3D prints commercialized, because they're trying to obviously maximize or I guess minimize the print time, there's a bit of a quality trade-off often. But these are phenomenal.
I was blown away by these. Not just for like, because the experience I've had with like 3D printed models is that they've been quite brittle. And obviously the print lines on them, which obviously makes cleanup quite hard. And at the same time, obviously, with the paint job going over the top of it, if you move it in the light, you can see the print lines. However, these are great.
Yeah.
We'll have I'll take some high res pics of the ones we've been sent and put the actual photos of the actual models that we have in hand on screen so you can see for yourself.
Yeah,
because they are really, really nice.
They're great, and like I'm a big fan of a priest. I mean, this guy's got like a massive machine gun, so like you can't go wrong with that. But again, like
doesn't get more holy than this guy.
He's got a crucifix on his back.
Hasn't got the holy hand grenade.
He doesn't know.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
anyone's
he might
Monty
do.
Python
There might
fan.
be a pouch somewhere around here with a holy hand grenade in there.
Yeah, but no, I genuinely thought that the miniatures are fantastic, and again, if you're looking for something a little bit different, then these are really cool. So when I saw the heavy mechanized infantry, I was like, right, this ticks my box. And what's more scary in a trench?
Size of that?
I know.
I know.
Huge.
Look at him compared to like a little priest with a machine gun. He is massive.
Yeah.
So like heavy
he's
armored infantry.
Painted as an ultramarine. I've seen there.
Well, no, honestly, do you know what I thought? I looked at the new Antioch artwork, and it was like an eggshell blue kind of color. And I didn't really want a copy box. I wanted like all the rust and stuff that I was going to paint on the model, like the subtlety, little bits of rust on like the chainmail and like the round rivets. And
You wanted the orange color.
Yeah.
I wanted a bit of a higher contrast, and eggshell blue, like duck eggshell blue, is nice. Don't get me wrong.
Pale, isn't it? Much
It's quite pale. I wanted a lot of high contrast on it, which is why I went for more of a blue.
You're painting a lot of blue lately.
I have. Do you know I've been on like a bit of a blue? I don't know, mission. I don't know what's going on, but that is ceasing very soon anyway. This model, there are some minor little print lines visible on like the front plate where I've put like a bit of a name on like his like kind of like chest area kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've freehanded a little name on, but in general, the quality of it is great, and it's literally just the arms. I think it's the arms, the gun, the head, and I think the legs just go together. So it's like 4 or 5 pieces. Not a lot,
Yeah.
really.
I'll be honest, I actually prefer when stuff is in multiple pieces, not only because it means they can have more detailed sculpts, but also I find it nicer I like to work in sub-assemblies anyway. So I would much rather the arms be separate.
I mean, his arms are still loose. I haven't completely tacked it on because I just want to do it. I want to add a little more freehand and bits and bobs on.
Do you know what I mean, though? Because sometimes you get 3D printed stuff and it's this like one piece, fairly flat model.
Everything I've ever bought has always been one block.
What 3D printed? Yeah.
So
I mean, this was really fun. I mean, it went together really easily. Didn't need to do any pinning, didn't need to do anything like that. And yeah, it's just a really nice canvas actually to just have fun because of the aesthetic of Trench Crusade and just obviously the gritty kind of environment. Had a lot of fun just weathering it and just doing lots of like rust and little chips and marks. Because obviously of the setting, and there's obviously like a lot of like faith and stuff involved in it. I like freehanded on like little like prayers and bits and bobs all over the arm. He's like, I imagine him to be like a knight, kind of like a knight in you know, in a big suit of armor. So obviously just put on like the Antioch symbols and stuff on there, and like done some like stripes and stuff just to denote like he's like knightly heraldry or something like that. And the other ones I haven't really started painting them yet, but they're absolutely amazing. Like they're really cool. Like this guy's got a giant like axe, which is just awesome. So he's really cool.
That's a really cool pose. I like that.
Yeah, I want him to look like he's about to
cleave
someone in half or cleave something in half. The other guy, I've left the axe off, the little hammer axe thing off because it's quite a bit fiddly. But yeah, the massive slab shield is just asking to have like freehand or something.
It's like a fridge door.
Yeah, it literally is like a fridge door.
Yeah.
But do you know what was really fun with it? Like the posing in these again, they're quite posable as well. It's not just like it's not like, even though they're minimal parts.
Oh, that's good.
You can do quite a lot with the posing, which is quite cool. But yeah, I really made sure that like when you look through the vision slit, his actual vision slit is lined up with it. Like little things like that, I think add a lot of personality to the model. But yeah, like they're just really fun to work on as a unit, and I'm gonna complete them because I think they're just been really fun as like a palette cleanser to maybe a project that I'm like they're a great thing to sort of like bounce between.
Do you think they're a bit more of a relaxed way of painting as well?
Honestly, like, because of the setting
of
the
whole aesthetic of them.
Yeah. Like I didn't approach it with like I'm going to edge highlight everything. I was actually like, cool, I'm going to go for a really gritty vibe, and I still want to weather them even more. Like I really want to do like loads of dirt and rust up the legs and stuff.
Yeah.
And like
people say to us all the time, they're like, "Oh, I want to see you go full GRIMDARK on a model."
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm gonna go. That's very timid, but I'm gonna go more.
Yeah.
I'd rather put it on incrementally than just snap it on and then go, oh, it's too much.
I suppose these wouldn't really look right, would they? With like the Warhammer style painting. I mean, I suppose when you could
100% you can. Yeah, like I don't. Do you know what it is? I think because of the setting, it makes sense to paint them with like the setting and the background. I always say this, but the setting and background is like a third of the miniature. Yeah. It's not a physical thing that's obviously there on the model, but I think it sells what it is. Does that make sense? So I am going to go a bit crazy, and I do want to finish the bases and stuff. We've had all these conventions and shows and stuff, so I haven't had as much time as I wanted to. But yeah, they're really fantastic, and like obviously these are just the new Antioch models. Like there are so many amazing factions. Yeah. Like you've got really, really great set of factions on there. Obviously some more human ones, slightly different part of the world, and then you've obviously got all the demons and the different, and you've got like humans that have like fallen to like the hell and stuff like that. There's some crazy models.
To rewind you a little bit as well, because you said this is a nice like palette cleanser. I think that's the upshot of a skirmish game as well, because you could just do a whole force pretty quickly.
Yeah,
because it's not actually that many models, so like the investment is quite minimal. I think as well, because the rules are free on Trench Crusade's website, you can play test this if you want. Miniatures agnostic, so obviously they have these lovely prints and models which you can check out.
Just use anything you want.
But you can. There's no reason you couldn't take some of the models you have, download the rules with your friends, see if you like it, and then if you like it, pick up some of the models and get into the lore and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but you get the sniper priest. Why would you not get the sniper priest?
Like, he's pretty good.
He's a priest. Yeah, sniper rifle.
Yeah. I mean, and within the scope of each faction, there is. Obviously, these are blue.
Yeah.
So there are. Can you just go mad with your own colours or schemes or?
New Antioch have got a colour scheme. Obviously, like the mechanized infantry, they've got like a duck eggshell blue kind of colour. But yeah, I've seen them painted in all manner of different colours. Like people have done. Like so, I looked on the Trench Crusade Discord, and like there's people painting. Like I think they've obviously got to release more models in the future for it. But like there's like Britons and there's like America. Like there's like you've got loads like people are painting like New Antioch as like different parts of the world as well, which is quite cool.
Don't forget as well, you can customize them as well, because I think they do some like parts bits pack, like kind of upgrade sort of packs. But then as well, like there's nothing saying that you can't use parts and bits from other systems and kit bash your own stuff. So.
Nice. I think that's one of the cool things about it is that it's that if anyone who watches this, I'm big into conversions. Like if you are into conversions, this game you can do a lot with it, which is quite cool. But yeah, like we had a lot of fun just looking at just really seeing a different type of model, and also at the same time painting in a way for me which is a bit different from what I normally paint as well. It's a good palette cleanser just mentally and also physically as well. It's quite good.
Do you think it's nice that it's because it's completely separate? It's not even in the same game system that you're used to working with it. So it kind of do you feel like it made you even more free in another way because it's like literally completely separate to this other thing?
Well, it's like eating a different cuisine. If you eat the same thing all the time and then you go to something else, it's a bit not free, and I don't know if that's the right terminology, but it's just
it just opens you up a little bit.
Exactly, it opens you up to different things, which is quite cool.
Yeah, but I guess because like if I was doing these, I wouldn't really have to compare it to my other stuff either because it is just completely
That's
different.
why I didn't like. You asked a question about like painting it in the normal way I paint, but like the reason I didn't was because like number one, it doesn't fit the lore and background of it, but secondly, like I wanted a purpose to paint something differently. As I always say, like different painting styles and executions of like different languages. It's good to know multiple languages. You can express yourself in different ways, and I think this is a really good way to just express my painting in something totally different to what do you know what? It reminds me very much of when I painted my Iron Warrior army that was taken, whatever, blah blah. I approached that army in the same way. I was like, I just want to paint this really battered and weathered because that's how Iron Warriors would be, and that's exactly the same mindset. I was like, these guys are in a world that's like on the cusp of like falling to darkness. Like I'm gonna paint it like that. Do you know what I mean? And like like,
do you want to walk us through your painting process for anyone who is interested?
So
because it's quite different to your normal edge highlighting.
Totally. Like
painted in red normally.
Normally red. I've been on a blue sort of like stint for a while now. So
how did you prep these for painting? Because that's always my biggest concern. Without putting any paint on, I was like, how do I even get these ready? Because of the lines and things.
To be fair, like the only place that I saw, I mean, I can't really see now, but the only place that I saw on this one, the one with the machine gun that I painted, the only place that I saw any kind of print on, and you can see it if you move it in the light a little bit, is on like the flat plate where like he's got a bit of a name written on.
Right.
I would say as well, just because you can see a print line when the model is unpainted, that doesn't mean that once you prime over it and start painting it, it's still going to be visible.
It doesn't necessarily. I mean, like from a distance, you can't see it. It's only when you move it in the light, and it's like a very fine grain of wood. Basically, it's similar to that. The prep and the cleanup was quite easy. So the resin it's not soft, it's not super hard and cracks and breaks. It's quite a nice middle ground. Like you can cut it and cut into it quite nicely. Went together really easy. I just undercoated it with like I think a Chaos Black or Colourforge Black or one of those two. And then I airbrushed. I done 3 tones of blue, a dark, a mid, and a light with distinct jumps in colour between them. So a good scope of saturation or jumping in chroma between them. And then gloss varnish them. And then with the gloss varnish, if you like oils and stuff like that, you can put oils on it. I didn't approach it with oils. I basically made like a load of like heavy washes with like acrylics, like browns. I use like Morn Fang brown. I use like Jicaro orange and stuff like that. And just really started sort of like tinting different areas, showing like a build up of detritus and stuff. I had a lot of fun. I tell you what, Paul, you would. I know what you're thinking.
Okay, what just popped into my head.
The dirty down. You can dirty down the living hell out of them. Like, honestly,
the amount of dirty down I can whack on those.
Yeah, they're great, honestly. Like and then once I sort of like started like grinding them up and putting a bit of dirt and detritus across the models. Then went in and I just done loads of really like careful detailed sponging. Got some tweezers, a little bit of sponge, stippled. Obviously, it's a bright blue first. Stippled that on, then done like some like silvers and bits and bobs. And I just had a lot of fun. It literally didn't take me. I think this guy took me like an hour or two, like
Yeah.
literally.
Do you know what? Actually, we done an episode a while ago on like cheaper hobby tools and stuff, and we spoke about the makeup egg sponge things.
Yeah, we did.
I think laying on colours with something like that for
Yeah.
a model of that size with all the volumes and stuff, I think would work really nice for both getting texture
Yeah.
and volumetric
coverage.
highlights
Yeah.
and doing it really quickly.
I was going
as
to
well.
say, I mean, they would work for just dry brushing those.
Yeah,
You
100%.
get a really good effect with that.
Of course you
for
would, yeah,
those. That'd be great.
100%. The thing is like the actual like painting of the blue and like doing the sponging and the
Yeah.
that took. It was once they were airbrushed a couple of colours and I gloss varnished them, and I'd done a couple of quick like tints and colours, obviously with like grime and like some browns and oranges
Yeah.
and bits and bobs. Hair dried that on. Once that was done, and I'd done the final sponge of like the chips and the brighter points and silvers and like and bits and bobs. Most of my time was spent just doing like the markings and stuff. I
Yeah.
literally, it literally like, the shoulder, the Antioch symbol on the shoulder, and like the thigh plate, and then like his like knightly stripes on the knee, and like the name on the upper chest and stuff like that. That was what took most of the time. And then I was like, oh well, the model's basically done. I've got to finish the base. Like the base is, I haven't had a chance to finish the base just because of conventions and stuff. But like that would be pretty quick to do. Like I reckon you could easily, if you're painting in that way, I reckon you could easily get like I don't know whether it's a warband or the name of these thing, but I think you could get a warband made and painted probably in a weekend if you approached it in that way.
That's really
which
good.
Which would be quite good. But yeah, they're really fun. Like the guy I had, do you know what? The most fun I had was actually putting the character the poses on, like like him looking like he's about to cleave someone, and the other guy like charging with a shield raised and the hammer about to strike. I was like, they're really fun models. Like
Paul's got the glasses
I know, I've
on.
got my
He's getting
glasses on as well.
serious.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm always a bit skeptical about what I see, especially online. When I'm buying, like, if I look at 3D prints,
Yeah.
normally they show you
They're renders, aren't they?
they're renders, and you look at it and it's like, oh, this looks great. So you buy the thing, and when you get it, it's like it doesn't look, it's not the same. But I mean,
These are sharp.
these are pretty. I mean, having seen these with paint on them, I actually, I'd be more keen to get into it.
Yeah, they're quite cool. They're really good.
It's a big thing,
Yeah.
the miniatures, isn't it? Because
It-
I
yeah.
know Trench Crusade is like a small company, and they're like
Yeah,
very, very much like from hobbyists. Like it's free rules, and like
yeah,
it's kind of a nice community vibe behind it. I think that's why a lot of people are banded behind it. But that being said, when like miniatures and stuff get involved, I think that's when sometimes indie games can fall flat.
yeah,
Is because ultimately, as miniature painters, like fair enough if you're into gaming or whatever, but as miniature painters, if the models aren't good,
yeah.
we aren't going to want to paint them.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Exactly,
we're not
yeah.
going to want to play with them.
I
So
think-
and you can't take it for granted, like you said, because like if I was going to be critical of them as well, I would say I don't like 3D renders and
Yeah.
artwork because, like you said, I don't actually know what I'm getting.
Well, it's-
Yeah.
I would
it's
much
not-
rather see the actual model,
I would, yeah.
3D print one, put it in a studio,
Yeah, photograph
take
it.
nice photos of it on white backgrounds
Yeah.
so I can see what I'm actually buying.
Yeah,
That's far more important to me.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't painted, I would be absolutely fine
I would
with
much
it.
rather. Yeah, I'd much prefer a grey miniature of what I'm actually going to be buying rather than a digital version picture.
Yeah,
of it.
and you don't get a sense of. I know it's hard to tell from a photo anyway, but I don't feel like you get the same sense of scale
No,
as well as that.
Yeah,
You can kind of see the model like on the
Yeah.
base in a physical form.
Yeah.
And just by the way light interacts with it and stuff, you get a bit more. Your
Yeah.
head can make a bit more sense
at
of
least
it.
you're a bit more prepared for it when you unwrap it and you think, oh, it's like, oh, this doesn't look like what I was paying for.
Yeah,
But that's why a lot of the stuff that I've bought ends up just in the box in the drawer,
Yeah.
not touched.
yeah.
But
I've had the same thing though. I've bought 3D printed stuff before,
Mm.
like just display miniatures, and like you, they're not painted; they're in a box because
Yeah.
I got all excited. I saw the render. I was like, oh, I could paint it like that, and then it shows up, and it's not quite what we expect.
Yeah.
Like I bought a 75mm scale figure once, and it shows up, and it's huge.
Yeah.
Like it's not 75mm scale.
Yeah,
I think they just went like, oh, 75mm for maybe a base. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened there, but I've had similar disappointment,
Yeah.
and it can be expensive. This 3D printed stuff as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the things when I was looking at it, I mean, obviously I painted one of the bigger kind of like mechanized infantry models, but like I think one of the things that I've noticed on a lot of 3D printed models is that the details are like really, really chunky, like really, and there's a lot of detail like fired at the
Yeah.
model, like because you can in whatever program it is that they do designing the miniatures. Sometimes it feels that like a lot of detail has been fired at the model, like and I'm that's like for 3D printed models, and one
Which
thing,
looks great in the render.
which looks great in
and
the
sells
render,
models.
yeah. But then when you
But-
get it, it's like it doesn't match the render. Do you know what I mean?
No.
And like I think with these, the detail is nicely done on the renders and also in the physical miniature.
Yeah.
Like they're quite refined, as in like the actual prints as well, which I think is quite good. If you're used to painting like other game systems and stuff like that, like be it plastics or metals or even resin models, one thing I would say definitely with these is that you just need to err on caution the thickness of paint you're putting on them potentially, because genuinely the details are very, very refined. Like on this chap here with this giant sort of cross on his back or whatever, like the chainmail is like he's got some like chainmail on his lower kind of like lower abdomen. Like it's really refined. And like if you go too heavy with paint on that, you're not going to see that detail.
And I think
like,
when they're associated with a certain painting style already, which is a bit looser, maybe a bit like messier, a bit more heavy-handed, that can trip you up for sure. Because if you've got lots of really fine detail and you're painting it
in
very
a
loosely,
liberal way, yeah. I think the thing is though as well, like for example, this priest with this giant machine gun, like
so good.
The detail is nice and chunky on it, but at the same time, there's lots of really like tiny little bits that require a little bit of fidelity with them. I think, and I think that you can have a lot of fun as a painter. Like, yes, of course, you can like put paint on it in a very liberal way and very sort of free and creative flowing form. You can do that definitely, but I think also for painters that are really about the micro details, micro textures, and like adding on intricacy through like really, really gradual color change, I think you'll have a lot of fun with these as well, which is cool, you know. And obviously this is the new Antioch faction. When you start looking at some of the demon hordes and like some of the models in those other factions, as much as I've loved seeing these in hand and having to go out painting one of them, the demon factions, those models are like nuts. They're absolutely crazy. Like, and if you like doing things like skin and like, you know, a mix of skin, armor, or like flesh, all that kind of stuff, they're like fantastic for that as well. So yeah.
So I think as for the painting side, because obviously it's still quite newish to it, I sort of fall on detail as like a sort of a crutch to help me along with the painting. Like, I mean, a lot of the renders that I get, you know, like all the 3D printing things, obviously the faces are they seem quite shallow.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
no,
the details aren't quite as pronounced. So that would make things very difficult for me to actually paint that in a way that I'd be happy with. So I kind of rely on very highly detailed models to help carry me through.
These, I will say that these are like that though. Like if you look at the face on this guy, like it's well detailed. It's in like all the details, the nose, the moustache, like the eyes, they're all detailed, but they're not, if you're used to really, really like chunkier details in the sense of like more defined sculpts, that's where I'm saying about being on the side of caution when you're putting paint on, like especially when you're painting faces. Like you put too much on, you're going to obscure the softer details that are there, which is something just to be conscious of.
I think you get that regardless of how a miniature is manufactured as well sometimes. Like even if they're hard plastic from a sprue, when you've got details small and soft, like it can often be a similar issue, kind of regardless.
It does depend on the sculpt, though, I would say, probably. It does depend on...
But I'm saying it's irrelevant of material. The sculpt is the sculpt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but no, they've been really cool to look at and go over. It's definitely tickled my fancy, you know, but maybe painting one or two of them, not maybe to do a warband for me personally, but yeah, I will say this, like for 3D prints, these are probably the best ones that I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not, I will put this out there as a caveat.
James is a 3D printer
noob.
hater to a degree.
I don't say hater. I've had a lot of bad experiences. I've seen something gone, oh, that'd be amazing to have that as a miniature. I bought, like yourself, I bought it, and then I've been like...
a bit disappointed with it.
Maybe hater is a strong word, but I would say if there's anyone I know that would be super skeptical if I was like, oh, I've got this 3D printed miniature.
Skeptical and skepticism is exactly the right word. Because I was like, oh, it's 3D printed. But then, but I was absolutely... I mean, if you can U-turn me on it, then... You've done a good job on it.
Yeah,
you know
and they're cool models as well. They are cool models.
Yeah. They seem to be cool.
There's a lot of variety as well, like you said.
There's an awful lot of parts there on the table.
Yeah, these are the Stormtroopers. Like, they're really cool, actually. Or the Shock. I don't know what they are. They're Shock or Stormtroopers, one or the other. But yeah, these are ones I actually really, really like. Like, it's got like a Bren. It's like amazing. Like if you know World War II guns, it's like amazing.
But it's nice to see some more realistic weaponry.
It's quite cool, actually.
In a setting like this.
I've just realised the priest is actually blindfolded and he's got a giant cannon. So probably not. Don't stand near him.
Just get out of his way.
Yeah. But it just shows you how cool like the unit is. Like you've got this guy that's wielding like a man cleaving broadsword.
Yeah.
And then you've got
Grief.
in the same unit, you've got a guy with a Bren gun, which is which is cool.
It's a mixture of like medieval and
it's
Great War weaponry. Yeah.
It's really, really awesome.
Even for a First World War kind of setting, running around with a broadsword like that is
well. Sorry to get the
I don't remember those
nerd
guys.
out, but on the D-Day landings in World War II, there was a British officer that came off a landing craft with a sword. So it did happen.
And that's 20 years after that.
Yeah, I know, right?
So yeah, it did happen. But no, it is pretty cool actually, and I had a lot of fun. And again, like with bases, if you enjoy like making the environment, like I've done, like this was really, really quick and easy to make these bases, and like and you can really go to town on them and like dirt them up, put skulls. I put like extra little weapons like that. I've got some old like plastic like cleavers and like you know, maces and stuff like that, and just put those on, which is quite cool.
Wet mud would be easy to
like you
the
get
gloss
some
out and
100%.
mud it all up. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah,
It's
like,
good fun.
you can-
And actually, historically, there's that element of it, I suppose. You know, not true historical, but they've got that element of like you said before, like the First World War sort of aesthetic.
Yeah.
So you can go back to that and look at those. There's plenty of reference images for that sort of thing as well.
Do you know what? It's a really good hybrid of, like you said, modern day, not modern day, like real world, and goes off a cliff crazy, like you know. So it's a real good amalgamation of those two things. And I think if you've got there's the various different aspects that you can really get into. If you like not aliens, but if you like wibbly stuff. Like wibbly stuff. Well, it is. They've got like tentacles and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. If they got if you like wibbly stuff, the demons have got loads of that. Loads of that. And some of the models are like wild. Like
I have to check them out actually.
But yeah, these are good as well.
Yeah. So I guess check the link in the description. We have an affiliate link, so take that as you will. But link in the description. If you want to check them out, then please do. It would help us and help those guys as well. But yeah, they're cool models. I want to pay some. For sure. I'm going to steal some off the desk.
Well, yeah, I mean, having seen these prints, they are miles better than the ones that I've bought in the past. So it kind of...
I don't like feeling like I'm missing out as well. I'm getting a little bit of the FOMO with Trench Crusade because everyone's talking about it. We saw them at UK Games Expo as well. They
were there as well. Yeah, which is good. I think these all the pre-orders for the physical copies. I think it's up until the 1st of July.
Yeah.
So
I should have said as well. There's STLs and physical prints. So check the links for that, because if you have a printer at home and you want to print some, you can buy just the STLs. Or if you don't have a 3D printer and you would like some very high quality prints, you can get them sent to your door. And the rules are free on their website, PDF.
Where's this company then? Is it a UK based company?
UK games, only games are UK based. So yeah, but I think, as I said, I think all the pre-orders for physical miniatures, I think they are up until the 1st of July. So do that, and I think they're going to be selling them obviously after that.
After the fact, we're still in pre-order mode at the minute.
But it is pre-order at the minute.
But they've said that they're fulfilling them in July. So.
Yeah, which will be good. So have fun with that, and I'm going to finish this unit off because I think they're awesome.
No, they look good. Yeah.
So yeah,
maybe we'll touch base in a few weeks if we've got on with some.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool. Good idea.
Big news, some huge updates have arrived to the Siege Studios Patreon to give you brand new perks and includes even more bonus content. Our refreshed tiers include extended ad-free episodes of this podcast, including our new post show, extended masterclass video tutorials with bonus tips and techniques, invitations to hobby hangouts with us, exclusive Discord channels, and of course, instant access to hundreds of easy-to-follow, step-by-step PDF tutorials updated every single month. And you can even get dedicated video feedback of your miniatures with our critique clinic, so you'll always know what skills you need to improve next. So what are you waiting for? Take the next leap in miniature painting and improve your skills for the same price as just a few pots of paint. Head to patreon.com/Siege Studios to learn more. Okay, let's move it on. So we do monthly painting challenges on the podcast in our Discord, link in the description. And last month, we're a little bit late to this one. We had events, we had to pre-record some episodes, so I apologize for that. But last month, in the month of May, our theme was Nurgle, and it was #MaygotkinOfNurgle.
Wow.
Classic pun.
We really need to get better at these names.
No, I'm all for it.
I wondered how you'd tie that into May.
No, I'm all for it. People like the puns.
Great.
We had a few people mention that to us. So
the
idea was we asked our community to paint anything Nurgle-esque
We're going to just see like one maggot on a base somewhere.
There's quite a lot of submissions this month, actually. Yeah. So the idea is we sift through a few of them and speak about them, and then we'll feature as many as we can on the show, and then we'll announce the next one at the end of this segment. Do you have any notable mentions, James?
Yes, Zidane with the amazing playcaster that he's got. He's got like a converted malignant playcaster that he's made. It's absolutely exquisite in the most disgusting way possible. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. The red arm was quite cool as well. I thought it was a little bit different. Like the use of turquoise. The flames on the top of the staff look great as well with that sort of sick green kind of color. And then you've got like the purple accents with the little flies and stuff. I thought that was really good. I have got another one that I'm going to squeeze in. It wouldn't be on brand if I didn't mention this because
is it a dreadnought?
Is there a blood angel?
It is a dreadnought. We always have a dreadnought.
Someone always squeezes a dreadnought into any one of these themes.
Yeah. There's plenty of space on the base though, isn't there? To
space on the base.
Space on the base.
On the base.
Yeah. DW man, absolute 9.5 out of 10 for the paperweight.
Not for the Nurgly classic
Furioso. Absolutely amazing. He gets down marked 0.5% for the Steel Legion drab base for him. But other than that,
That's actually a plus 5 points.
no,
Really.
no. DW man, if you're watching
10.5.
this, you've done amazingly. That dreadnought looks great, dude. Like honestly, like absolutely amazing.
I will say for the listeners as well, the idea with these challenges is obviously to paint something new. And because we have the monthly theme, hopefully that gets people painting something outside the comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I would say the caveat is you don't have to do a whole model. So for this month, we didn't say you have to paint a Nurgle thing.
No.
You can just do a basing bit
Basing
or just a little
decoration.
test piece or something like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes people slip dreadnoughts through the cracks.
Yeah,
That's good.
That's because there's might be something Nurgly on the base.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that might segue into my pick actually. So Leah Laura has painted a sort of seafoam green Death Guard model, but
Looks great.
the color scheme for this is like really cool and unique. I love
Very
the
cool.
volumetric painting, the tones, the colors are awesome. But then I noticed on the base, there's a bit of a sort of aquatic theme going on here, featuring a little crab, which I thought was adorable.
Little
first of all.
Krusty the Crab.
But also, I thought I'd throw this in the ring because next month's challenge is July Deneth Deepkin.
oh god.
Oh my god.
So we've got a 2-in-1.
Good
We've got a
grief.
2-in-1 because that is, of course, to paint something nautical themed.
There is
So I'll tell you what, Leah Laura, submit this one again next month.
go on, do
You
it.
have my permission.
A lot of people do go with the nautical theme for Nurgle.
Yeah.
It's becoming quite a popular
Starfish
thing.
on the shoulder
it's-
pad.
They look great.
There's starfish
It's
on the
so
shoulder
good.
pad.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
that's
like
so
it's like a sort of suit of armor that's been lost under the sea and
Yeah.
slowly.
Extra props for
Yeah.
everyone who used the crab emoji to vote it up. So
Big ups to our Discord community
That's
for their
it.
emoji usage.
Yeah. Hunting for all those emojis to find the
fantastic.
crab.
Absolutely fantastic.
I'll tell you what, in real time, I'm going to put a little crab on there. There you go.
Wow. Awesome.
I'll do it as well. There you go.
Paul, what is your honourable mention?
Well, Tubbleberry with his only ever painted Nurgle thing, which is obviously the little sassy Nurgling.
It is amazing. It wouldn't be a Nurgle month without
Well, I
Sassy
mean, you've
Nurgle
gone
making
for
an
Blood
appearance.
Angels Dreadnoughts, but this is pure Nurgle. This is just encapsulates Nurgle. This little bit of cheek, your intestines hanging out, and just like, yeah, come on then.
It's great.
It's great, and he's sort of standing triumphantly amongst
Parts
some
of a knight.
I was going to say, those are like
armor
night
some,
pads, aren't they?
Yeah.
some skulls and things. Just epic, so good. And if that's the only Nurgle thing that you've ever painted, then
It's fantastic.
I suggest you paint more.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Embrace it.
I would
It's
say
very
this
cool.
has been one of the most popular themes that we have done.
Of course, it is. It's Nurgle.
You love
Yeah.
Nurgle, don't
Everyone
you?
loves Nurgle.
Yeah.
Bit of Nurgle, bit of dirt, a bit of intestine. Chuck it in a dirty puddle in the street. Entry.
Crab, bosh.
A whole crab.
Yeah.
That's it. Off you go.
I quite like weird tangent. I like when people do when it's done well. I like the photography of like models and stuff in the wild, if
Yeah.
you will. It can be a bit hard to pull off with Warhammer because the scale is so tiny.
It's like the little Lego men holding daisies and things.
Yeah,
They're
or
pretty
people do it with action figures a lot as well. I know,
Yes.
especially I'm quite into Star Wars, as people know, and people get especially the larger scale, like really nice action figures. People get those, pose them. I've seen there's this one guy, I really don't know his name. I'd have to try and dig it up. I'll put it on the screen if I can find it. And he literally gets like firecrackers and stuff like that, lets them off, and like he's doing like really rapid photography, and he's like getting shots of like it looks like explosions and stuff in the background. There's like sparks flying on the screen, and it'd be so easy to Photoshop stuff like that. But the fact that someone has gone to the effort to
do it properly,
to do it practically,
well.
I love stuff like that.
I mean, you don't see any sort of like Blood Angels at the Tesco's or anything like that, do you?
Blood Angel was at Tesco.
That's what you want.
This is a whole new
This,
tangent.
you just said
It's a whole new tangent.
Warhammer in the Wild. That's as. I mean, you don't
Not quite
just
what I had
sit-
in mind.
No.
No.
Okay, sure.
We did a weird little offshoot. Do you remember when the Legions Imperialis stuff came out? And
Yeah.
we did some fun little still.
Like the big
Stills.
contemptor taking the little contemptor to like school or whatever it is, like when they're
Yeah.
walking next to each other.
I think we had the little tiny Marines walking through a pot of Nuln oil as
that
well.
was
That's
quite
something
cool.
like that.
Yeah. that
Are
was
you
quite good.
referring more to like going into the woods and setting some up and
That
taking
is what I had
pictures?
in mind.
Not Tesco's.
No, no, not
Other,
Tesco.
other supermarkets.
That's an offshoot of an offshoot. You've got the comedic
Okay.
aspect, like
Too-
you said.
He's cooking. He's been cooked
Too far adjacent
cooked for
to-
too long. Yeah.
I'd like to see that though. I wonder if someone's maybe I'm ignorant to this, but I wonder if anyone's done that where they've got like a whole Warhammer army and like kind of set them out in
must
some
be
real scenery
someone
and stuff.
somewhere must have done that. I'm sure there is some supermarket
I've seen some
shops.
really clever stuff where people have using like false perspective, like Lord of the Rings style.
Yes.
They've got
I've seen that.
I've seen it with little Matchbox cars,
Mm.
and they've like got them on some sort of riser or something, and then there's like a shipping yard in the background or something. It
Yes.
looks like it's
Full size.
part of it, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
full size in that environment, but
Yeah.
it's not.
There's
So
a lot of photography like that if you look in the like realistic diorama sort of things. A lot of people will take, especially buildings, they'll put their buildings in the real world and like you do with a false perspective thing,
Yeah.
shoot it like it's. I mean, you can't tell until they sort of pan out and show you it's just
I love stuff like that.
it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah. People don't actually know this set is 8 miles behind us.
I know, right?
Wild. Yeah. We're outside right now.
Yeah, the set's massive and we're tiny.
Yeah. We have to do it with James, the false perspective thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we do the critique clinic, I have to sit a fair bit behind James because the size difference.
It's like when we have guests and they come in, it's like, oh, I didn't realize it was like this. It was this massive when we come in.
The illusion is
I know, the
spoiled.
illusion,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have a hobby hack for this week.
Get off the bus, as they say.
Get off the bus.
Do they
yeah,
say that?
I'm sure perhaps 10 years ago.
I've never
maybe.
heard that, but okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, I'm stepping off the bus. So, bit of a shout out for anyone who has taken my advice
Hmm.
and gone the safe, sensible route with their airbrush, and they've gotten themselves a nice little extractor booth
I know where this
and their
is
lovely
going.
3M mask and all that good stuff. They're taking the appropriate safety precautions. Good for you guys. Well done for looking after your lungs. So, I, like many, have bought just the default airbrush extractor booth that you get on eBay or Amazon or anything like that.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the one. If you've got one, you know. I've got one of those, but it's quite handy because it folds up, and I don't have a permanent airbrush setup, so you fold it up, put it away under the desk when I need to airbrush and get it out, all that good stuff. However, my desk is still quite small and quite it's lacking in depth. Hasn't got a lot of. It's quite shallow. So when I put mine on the desk, it takes up like the whole desk, and I can't really spray into it very nicely because I have to sit like quite far away. It makes it a bit awkward. However, I then noticed that I'll have to put some pictures on screen if I can. There's like a folding bit kind of horizontally along the middle. So the depth is kind of like times by 2, if that makes sense, where it folds over. What I did, I went in there, busted out the hinge, like there was a little metal like pin that held the 2 plastic like hinges together, busted that out, and then I broke off the sort of second layer of the airbrush booth, thus making it half the depth and much more space efficient on my desk. I'm also now able to spray much closer to the fan and the filter at the back, so I'm getting much less stuff in the room because it's when I'm spraying, it's going like more directly in. You don't get any like overspray mist, and also because of the dimensions of the way it folds up, it still works. It still folds up perfectly nicely, still fits, still functions as expected. Hobby hack.
I have done the exact same thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much more room on my desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, we're talking about it this weekend. That's where the hobby hacks come from. Yeah, the illusion is spoiled.
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I did the exact same thing this weekend, and just mine's. I think even though they're all the same sort of spray booth, mine you can't take the thing off, but I just folded it under, and then basically it's like half the depth.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, I feel when I sit at the airbrush desk, I'm like, I've got so much more room now. Just
So much more room for activities.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's good.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Hobby hack.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Hacked. It's time to hack.
I thought that was a good one.
It's good. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. It's really good. Yeah.
Okay.
Well done.
Okay. On that note, we're going to jump over now to the post show, which is a benefit for our patrons. So if you want to get even more Paint Perspective content in your life, ad free, we do an additional 20, 30 minutes after the podcast of more podcast. So if you want to get that and access to our extended masterclass video tutorials and the PDFs and hobby hangouts and loads of other good stuff just for the price of a few pots of paint. Check the link in the description to our Patreon and you'll find all of those wonderful benefits over there. It's backdated as well, so you can listen to like all the old ones. You can just subscribe for a month, listen to 40 odd extended episodes and then cancel. Do what you want to do. Otherwise, massive thank you for listening to this week's episode of Paint Perspective, and we will see you next week. Right, diorama boy, what you got?
So this one is an exclusive for everyone on Patreon because I'm not going to be putting it anywhere else in public. I want to try and tell a story of something that you don't really see or hear that's spoken about within 40k.